The 116th edition of La Primavera, the first monument classic of the year. 289 kilometres for Milano-Sanremo, over the Passo del Torquino and on towards the coast with its traditional difficulties culminating in the Cipressa and the Poggio. As ever, a stellar start list of riders, including the world champion Tadej Pogacar, the in-form Mads Pedersen, Mathieu van der Poel, and a host of other big names hoping to clinch victory in this prestigious race. Terrible conditions as they got away from Pavia at kilometre zero, and the early attacks yielded eventually a group of 7 riders, including Martin Marcellucci with his young teammate Filippo Turconi from VF Group Bardiani, a couple of French riders as well as Mark Stewart from Scotland in an 8-man move that eventually went up the road and onto the gentle slopes, albeit long, of the Passo del Torquino. By the time they got over the top with a diminished lead of just 2.5 minutes, the sun was beginning to come out and riders were beginning to strip away some of the outer layers from a very cold opening few hours of this, the longest race in the calendar. A huge job of work being done by Sylvain Dillier from Alpecin de Koning in support of his team leader Mathieu van der Poel, as well as the man who won the race last year, Jasper Philipsen, both those riders riding for Alpecin de Koning. Then on the approach to the Capo Melle, that was it for Sylvain Dillier as a number of other riders took the pace up. A little crash there involving a few riders and a mechanical problem for Jasper Philipsen, last year's winner, who had to chase hard to get back on as the sun came out. Philipsen just about back in the peloton, but the pace getting ever higher, the gap to the riders at the front of the race down to 1 minute and 20 seconds as they hit the last of the 3 climbs, the Capo Berta. That was it. That was all the patience that Martin Marcellucci had from VF Group Bardiani, the strongest of the riders left in the breakaway. He attacked on the Capo Berta and took a handsome lead of over a minute to the peloton over the top of the last difficulty before the twin assaults of the Cipressa and then the Poggio. The only question was, as they passed through Imperia, would Marcellucci still be out when they hit the Cipressa, and what would happen on the Cipressa? So Marcellucci just about holding the chase, and when they got onto the Cipressa, he was caught almost instantly. It was then that Tim Wellens started to force the pace for UAE Team Emirates. That dispatched Jasper Philipsen, still bruised from a crash the other day at Noceracosa, and Tadej Pogacar then attacked on the lower slopes of the Cipressa and tried to take a group clear. Filippo Ganna, Mathieu van der Poel and Romain Grégoire at first going with him until Filippo Ganna was put into difficulty, but Mathieu van der Poel right on the wheel. Ganna, though, the time trialist, paced his effort to perfection and went over the top with Mathieu van der Poel and Tadej Pogacar and started to drop down on the descent off the Cipressa towards the Poggio. Those 3 riders combining well with one another and building up a lead that was still 45 seconds big as they hit the lower slopes of the Poggio, and it didn't take long before Tadej Pogacar decided to attack. Within a couple of hundred metres of the Poggio, Pogacar asked the question of Mathieu van der Poel again, knowing that he would have to repeatedly attack the Dutchman if he was going to be able to drop him. Ganna put into difficulties, but still in contention as he rode the climb at his own pace, and towards the top, van der Poel, unable to be dropped by Pogacar, launched his own offensive. Tried to get a gap on Pogacar over the top of the climb, but Pogacar pegged him back. Both those riders went on to the descent with a small advantage over Filippo Ganna, who descended like a demon off the Poggio. Tadej Pogacar and Mathieu van der Poel unable to drop one another on the descent off the Poggio, and it was Filippo Ganna who, on the flat run into the Via Roma, made the junction with a...
Filippo Ganna nearly on terms, Ned.
Ganna comes back. 500 metres to go and he is in the mix. Now, one breath and the Italian has to hit them hard, hit them long and get away and confuse the pair who thought they had this race between them. Mathieu van der Poel then from the front. They're all lining up on the man with the fastest finish, but don't forget what a kick Filippo Ganna has. Pogacar has it all to do to try and win this race. He is on the back foot now, the world champion, as Van der Poel looks round and they slow right up. 500 metres to go. Checks again, Van der Poel. Ganna, they're easing right up. Some other riders could yet come into this. We don't know where that group behind is. They're out of sight for now. Pogacar playing a very, very cool game, drops right off to try and launch a long one. Van der Poel on the left-hand side of the road, Ganna on the right, Pogacar winding it up, but Van der Poel goes long. That's a risk. That is a big risk. He's opened up his sprint over 300 metres from the line. Ganna trying to shut it, and Pogacar is on the wheel of the Italian. All three of these riders could win from here, but Van der Poel holds them off. Ganna in second place, Pogacar in third. That was a race for the ages. You'll have to wait a very, very long time to see a better Milan-Sanremo for men than that.
Great result for Alpecin Deceuninck, who win this race for the third time in a row. An unparalleled feat. Tadej Pogacar still waiting to unlock the key to success with Filippo Ganna. Another second place finish for him.